Hi, good morning, everybody. So, are we enjoying the retreat? Yes, yeah. So, I was asked to deliver a Dharma talk, and I thought, so what topic will be good? And I think that there are many beginning practitioners. So I thought, why I begin with general knowledge of Buddhism and theory of Buddhism, and I will go to a specific way of practice. So I want to begin my talk with some question, so you can answer, everybody can answer. So if you think of the word Buddhism, so what kind of an image or thought pops up in your mind? And you can describe it in one word. So when you think of Buddhism, so what arises in your mind? Like, for example, meditation. So what's your answer? Peace? Okay, peace. And compassion? Okay, compassion. And enlightenment. And clarity. What's the spell? I-T-Y, clarity. Okay. Sorry, it's my second language. So, and suffering. That's very important, suffering. And mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness. Breathing. That's good. And you said practice. And artist. Honesty, okay, honesty. Peace, honest, and practice, right? Very nice. And if somebody has another awareness, right? And do you know what the Buddha taught? What's the Buddha's very basic and essential teaching? Non-violence. Okay, non-violence. And?
One thing I heard is life contains suffering, and there's suffering in life.
Right, that's the Four Noble Truths, right? So what is the first noble truth? First, life is what? Suffering. Yeah, Buddhism is very negative religion. So it begins with life is suffering is the beginning of Buddhism. And what's the second noble truth? Yeah, if there is a suffering, there is a cause of suffering, right? Suffering. Third, so if there is a cause of suffering, then what? Yeah, cessation of suffering, or there is a way out of suffering. Then when the suffering, after the cessation of suffering, then what follows? Yeah, end of suffering, suffering, and we call it like enlightenment. Enlightenment or peace or compassion. So your answer can be categorized to those four categories, like non-violence, and the compassion, enlightenment, and clarity. That's the result of the practice, right? Enlightenment. And suffering is the beginning. And peace and honesty, the result. And mindfulness and awareness and breathing and practice. These are the way out of suffering. Then we just missed this one. Then what is the cause of suffering? Desire and delusion, ignorant, right? So if there is suffering, and when we remove the cause of suffering, so we can be free from that. That's simple. That's the essence of the Buddhism. So let me prove how it works. So I will ask a question. So we will all think about the question all together. So if you already know the answer of this question, so you can just please keep it in your mind. Do not speak out, so everybody can ponder on the question. But we will solve it all together, but I need a representative, one person who can answer about it. So, any volunteer to answer the question? Nobody? Okay, so Mir, please come forward. Yeah. Okay, the question is that there is a box, okay? So I will give you 20 seconds. So in the 20 seconds, you have to put your palm somewhere on the blackboard, okay, in 20 seconds. But if you put your palm in the box, I will hit you 10 times. And if you put your palm outside of this box, I will hit you 10 times. Okay? So did you get the question? Okay, you have 20 seconds now.
Either way suffering?
Okay, you have now 10 seconds.
That's not the answer?
Think about it. So what's your answer? Inside 10 times and outside 10 times, and here is a good thing to hit. You don't know? You don't know? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. What's your answer? If you put in it, you will be hit 10 times. And if you put outside, you will be hit 10 times. Half and half, then I will hit you 20 times.
Maybe non-action.
Non-action, 50 times you deserve. And what? Take. So I didn't get it, so you got it 100 times. There is an answer. So let me give you a hint. If there is a suffering, there is a cause of suffering. And I said there is a way to remove the suffering. Right, erase. So if you erase this box, there is no inside and outside, no distinction. So you can put your palm anywhere. And that's the very essential theory of Buddhism. Then what does this box symbolize? What is this box? Yeah, cause of suffering. But in our actual daily life, what is the cause of suffering? Attachment? Yeah. Precept. Ourselves. You said? Ourselves, right. Ego, ourselves. So it is there, but people try to keep finding the cause of suffering from external conditions, like that person bothered me, or something is bothering me. People keep searching for the cause of suffering from external conditions. But what Buddha said was, do not find the cause from outside. Look inside of you. There is a cause of suffering. So that's why we practice meditation, to look inside. So there is ego. Then the Buddhism is the religion to teach us how to deal with the ego. To explain it, so I need to explain our consciousness. In Buddhism, it teaches us that there are 8 different levels of consciousness. So first 5 is we have eyes, ears, nose, and tongue, and body. Right? We watch, we listen, we smell, we taste, and we touch. And there is like those are the first 5 consciousness, and the 6th is like recognition. The 6th and 7th, and that's the ego or self. And beyond that, there is something called like Buddha nature, or like original mind, or peace, or compassion, whatever it is called. The Buddhism says that there are something beyond the ego. So let me explain that. What is this color? Black? Is it black? Are you sure? Is it black? Really? What? Yeah, it's black. Why do you take it so serious? It's black. Okay, it's black. So everybody agrees it. So it's black, right? That's the function of our 6th consciousness. So we all recognize, oh, this color is black. Then let me give you another question. So do you like this color? Do you like it? Sometimes. Okay. Do you like it? Okay, if you like it, raise your hands. Okay, please put it down. So if you don't like it, raise your hands. Okay. It's the same color. Everybody agrees that this is black. But why some people like it and why some people don't like it? That's the function of our ego. So can you now distinguish the difference between the recognition and ego? So through this 6th sense, we receive some informations from the external world. We watch, we taste, smell, and touch. And it's accumulated in this area, the ego. It's like a hard drive in the computer. So every information in your memory is stored in this place. So that's the reason that in Buddhism teach that that's the cause of suffering. So if some conditions does not match with some informations in your ego, that's the beginning of the suffering. So Buddha taught us that to be free from that, so we can go beyond to this area. Right? So that's to go in this place, we practice meditation. And that's the reason we practice meditation. Go beyond the ego. Do you like meditation practice? Really? Really? Yeah, many people think that meditation practice is needed, but not so many people enjoys the practice. The same is true in me. I'm a minister, and I have practiced meditation for 13 years, seriously. But in the beginning level, it was like torturing to me. So when I was a preliminary minister, I had to get up before 5 a.m. and practice the meditation for 1 hour. But I didn't know how to meditate at the time, so the 1 hour of meditation practice was like an extension of morning sleep. So I was lying down on my room and sleeping, and I changed the place and go and changed my posture and slept again. And that's what I did when I was Prime Minister. So, yeah, that kept continuous even after I became a minister. So one day, I had a doubt. I took it serious in the morning, one day morning. As usual, I fell into sleep and wake up, and I thought like, okay, I'm a minister. And at that time, I was just 28 years old. So one Buddhist minister, they usually retires in their age 68. So if I don't quit this job, I have to do it every day morning for 40 years. So then, what's my option? So in that morning, I decided, okay, if I cannot avoid it, I'm going to enjoy it. That was my resolution. So it's a shameful story that a minister didn't know how to do it. But the reason I can talk this story in front of this many people is that I got over it. And I know how to enjoy meditation. So I began my practice from the very bottom level, so I can understand how hard it is. So let me introduce my way of practice. As I said, the reason we practice meditation is that we have to go beyond the ego. So let's think about it in this way. There's ego, and there is like original mind or true self. Okay, let's compare it in this way. You are digging a well on the ground. Okay, you are digging a well. You need some water. So you dig in this point, and your goal is to make a hole through this way. So it's ground, and this is rock bed, very rock bed. So you have to penetrate it to get to the underground water. And you have two kinds of tools. The first thing is that hammer-like a tool. And second one is drill-like tool. So given the choice between those two tools, so which one will you choose? Hammer or drill? Hammer, raise your hands. Yeah, they are, okay, remember them, they are very dangerous people. No, I'm just kidding. The drill, raise your hands. Okay. So, sir, why hammer?
Because through stone, easier.
Easier, okay. Then, sir, why drill? Okay, so to go through the underground water, you don't need to destroy a whole rock bed, right? What you need to do is that just make a hole. Through that, the water comes out, right? So you need to just make small or large holes. So if you hit the rock bed with a hammer, so what happens? Yeah, crack. But it will be very hard to crack it. It's very thick and large. So when you hit this rock bed with a hammer, I'm not very good at painting. This is a hammer. Okay, let's suppose this is a hammer. Okay, the whole force or power will be scattered through the whole rock bed, right? So maybe you cannot make any change. But if you use the drill, so what happens? The power and force is concentrated in this one point, right? So you can keep going. So you can get to the water an easier way. The same is true in our meditation. So that's why the first theory of meditation is concentration. So concentrate on your breathing or concentrate on your dungeon. So whatever the object of concentration is, you need concentration. But some people ask them like this, so I concentrated on my breathing, but nothing happens. Yeah. And I still feel bored in my meditation practice. Then the problem is usually that the matter is the depth and strength of the concentration. There are hundreds and thousands different levels of concentration. It's like, I cannot describe it in words. It's not just concentration, it's like concentration. So you have to put your all energy and consciousness in your breathing to one point. If you do that and if it doesn't work, come to me. And I guarantee it works 100%. In that morning of my conversion, so I read many books about meditation, I found out. So whatever different religion are, so different branches of religion teach differently. Like some branch teaches that we need to focus on this point, or this point, or this point. So every branch teaches differently, but the common is that concentration, the pure concentration. So if you really focus on your breathing, then you will go beyond your consciousness. But the thing is that, what's your barrier in meditation? Because there is uninvited guest, like a wandering thought, right? So when thoughts invaded in your mind, so what do you usually do? How do you deal with the wandering thought? Okay, there can be various answers, but as I said, the matter is focus. And somebody said like observation and watching. So I'm going to explain how to do it. So there is a cup of water. And let's imagine that this is the surface of the water is like your mind. So you need to make it even and tranquil. Like there's no wave. That's your mind, okay? But when we practice meditation, the thing is that something is keep coming through this way. So imagine like somebody put some pebble through this surface. There is a pebble. So when the pebble comes through the water, so what happens? There is wave. disturbance, right? That's what you usually experience during your meditation. Okay. Then there is your mind and there is a wandering mind embedded in your mind. Then what are you going to do? Do you have to take this pebble out because this is the cause of the disturbance? No. Why? So when you put your hands, okay, hands, this is hands. So when you put your hands to take it out, it will make a larger wave, right? That's the trap of meditation. When during your meditation practice, when you have a wandering thought, you try to watch it, you try to observe it, but I recommend you just ignore it. The thought is not physical, it's not like a pebble. It doesn't have a form. When you ignore that, the skill of ignorance is focusing on your breathing. When you really concentrate and focus on your breathing, then this wandering thought and invaded mind will naturally disappear. And you will have the tranquil surface. So, did you understand? So, some people do like this. Okay, the pebble invaded, and I'm going to watch it. When it disappears, then what happens? It will never disappear unless you disconnect your consciousness on it. So I recommend you better just ignore rather than watching or observing. There is like a distortion of the word. The watching and observation can be interpreted in various ways. So you better watch and observe, not this pebble or thought, but you need to observe your breathing. And that's the beginning level of meditation. In the beginning of my meditation practice, it was so hard to just sit in 1 minute. I sat in 1 minute and I opened eyes and watched the clock and I thought like, that's broken. But in these days, I just sit and close my eyes and open my eyes. Just 30 or 40 minutes, just gone. I don't feel like the time has gone that much. I was told that somebody meditated for like an hour. I meditated 2 hours and I meditated like 3 hours. In the past time, I was very envy and jealous about that. How come a human being can do that? Sitting like in 2 hours. But now I can do it. It's not bragging, it's just, you're gonna hate me, but it's easy, very easy. Because, what? We keep breathing, right? You focus every inhale and exhale on your breathing. If you can really, inhale and exhale. When you really focus on one cycle of breathing and inhale and exhale, so why not you cannot concentrate on second breathing, right? Can you do that? Can you do the pure concentration on just the 2 breathing cycle? Everybody can do that, right? So if you keep focusing on this way, the sense of time will dramatically shorten. Just 1 hour, 2 hours doesn't matter. So when people say like that, I ask them back, so did you enjoy the meditation? Or it was just a practice of endurance or torturing? So I just knew that this is a very essential way of meditation practice. And after that, I recognized it, the length of the time doesn't matter. If I just focus on 1 minute, that's okay. That's very nice practice. Or 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. So if you can do 1 minute, you can do 1 hour. If you can do 1 hour, you can do 2 hours. But that's not the ultimate goal of our practice. If you can do this practice, so now you can know how to, you can get the essence of meditation practice. It's like this. Imagine that you are learning swimming, right? Then what is a priority? What is the first thing to learn the swimming? So first thing is that you need to open your eyes in the water, and above all, you need to be float, right? You have to float on the water. Then you can learn swimming. So if you know how to concentrate on your breathing or your danjan, you just know how to float. Okay? Then, so if you know how to float, then what you can do? You can swim, right? So I recommend you to practice the concentration on breathing. Then, so you go beyond the ego, then there is a very calm and peaceful mind. But the thing is that we need to bring this kind of mind status to our actual daily life. So Master Sotasan said that, so if we really know how to meditate, so we can meditate while we are studying, or we can meditate while we drive. So whatever we do, we can meditate. So let me give you an example. I used to work in the Philadelphia temple, and there is a very big Dharma hall. And my job was to cleaning the Dharma hall before every service. So before I know this practice, the cleaning was very boring and time-consuming job. So what I did was that usually while I clean the Dharma hall, I turn on the music loudly, and I didn't focus on the cleaning. I didn't rather focus on the music sound, because since the cleaning was very boring job, I needed something to entertain myself. But I practiced meditation, and I recognized and how to practice meditation in our daily life. Then my cleaning changed. But I didn't turn on the music, and I just focus on in every single moment of my action. For example, when I turn on the faucet to wet the mop, I feel the touch, and I feel the feeling of the water, and I feel the mop. And when I cleaning the Dharma hall, I really focus on my action and stare at the end of the mop and what is happening there. If you know how to meditate, how to practice sitting meditation, you can apply the theory in your daily life. I want to introduce the practice of the breathing and danjan. So is there somebody who practice danjan meditation here? Could you raise your hands? So you sit and you practice meditation. Okay. So in the beginning level, it's much easier to focus on your breathing. But if you keep practice, and if you can let go of every wandering thought, and you need to change your way of practice, here is Danjan at this point. So when you focus on just on your breathing, so it's just put your consciousness on it, right? Put your consciousness on your breathing. So it is like it doesn't have some power. If thought invaded, so you can usually pulled away from the thought. But the Danjan meditation is much more powerful way of practice. So in Buddhism, when we meditate, the first thing is that we need to flat our posture. Make a flat posture and straighten your back. Then what happens? Have ever somebody experienced the difference when you make a complete flat posture and straighten your spine? Then what happens? Flow? Okay, flow. Alert? Yeah, more alert. Opening of chest, right? So the answer can be various, but what I'm trying to say is that this lotus posture is the most stable posture that human being can make. So when you make a complete and flat posture like this, we have an energy in our body. All the energy of our body will be concentrated in this point. Then you can just recognize this force or energy. Then at that time, if some thought invaded in your mind, you are not going to be pulled away. So it's like this. Just putting the consciousness on your breathing is like just riding a bicycle. And doing this Danjan meditation can be like riding on a motorcycle. The use is the same, and the way of riding is the same, but it's much more easier and fast and powerful. But I cannot explain it more. So when you really focus on your breathing, and you think you know how to meditate, so you can change your way of practice of meditation to Danjan meditation. And that's all I prepared today, and I hope you enjoyed my main dishes. So if you ever have some question, you can ask to me. Yeah.